Peoples, what's going on? I am Finesse. We are in the Finesse Garage because today we are talking about cameras. All right, so like I said, today we are going to be talking about cameras, specifically action cameras. So if you're like me and you're currently using your smartphone to do all your video footage and you're looking to do something different, the next level to go to is an action camera, right? And in my opinion, there's really only two action cameras that I would even consider for using in my workflow, and that would be the Insta360 Ace Pro or the DJI Osmo Action 4. Today, we are going to put these cameras through their paces, and to make it a fair comparison, we're going to have all the settings the same. So it's just going to be the automatic, point and shoot type settings. Because if you're new to the game like me, you're not really getting in deep into the weeds, such as ISO, exposure, and your white balance, and not only that, frame rates and all the other things. There's a million options that you get on these cameras, but I think most people would just get these for the point and click feature and the ease, because that's what it's all about, right? Making production easier on the person using the cameras. So we're going to have these cameras in automatic mode. I'm going to do some shots both indoor and outdoor and on the motorcycle today, and I'll be bringing you guys all of that. Once we get done, I will give you guys my thoughts on each of these cameras and then tell you which one that I chose. All right, so I have both the cameras on. It's at 4K 30, and that's also at 4K 30. And let's get them on the road. All right, so we are up here at the dealership, and I'm looking at the battery on both of these. So I had both of these batteries at 100% when we started. They both were charged overnight, and the DJI definitely has more battery, if you can see it right there, and then of course vice versa, if you can see that there. So but we knew that going in just from the stats that they were talking about on the website. So transitioning from outside to inside. Take a quick walk around here, and I'm using the microphone on both of the cameras, so I'm not using any aftermarket microphones. These are the microphones that come on the camera. Just going around. It's just a gorgeous bike no matter what. We got Sport Chief here. Some FTRs. All right, so let me flip that back up. All right, so so I'm gonna take care of some business out here, and then we'll get back to the garage. All right, everybody. So we are back here in the garage, and we just did a test or a short ride, using the DJI Action 4 and the Insta360 Ace Pro. So in reference to the video quality from each of these cameras, you're going to find out that it's very, very similar. I think that the Action 4, that camera gave you a little bit more contrast in the video. However, in some of the dark areas, you could see a little bit of, there's a little extra noise in the video. And by noise, I mean that grainy, almost kind of staticky look. When you start looking at more of the dark areas in the video, you could see it more when I was riding the bike versus when I was walking around with the camera. But just know that that is there. But I mean, if it's something that you're not looking for, you're probably not going to notice it anyway. I mean, you figure most people are watching on phones and those types of things, but nonetheless, it is there. And with the Insta360 Ace Pro, you've seen that the image itself was a little bit lighter because it has a little less contrast. However, I will say that I think the Ace Pro image was a bit sharper overall. All right. And as far as it being a little less contrast, you can always do that in post, and adjust those settings to get the look that you want to look for. But like I said, overall, I think the image quality is very similar, and unless you're putting side by side, I don't think you're really going to notice any difference. All right. So while I have you here, we can look at the bodies of the cameras. The DJI Action 4 is a bit smaller than the Insta360. I mean, just slightly smaller. It's a little less thin, or well, I guess it's been on a little bit of a diet. All right. And you're gonna have all your standard options. So these mounts for the cameras, these mounts are magnetic. You've got a magnet on both sides, and for the DJI, on the front of this mount, it has the DJI logo, and that goes to the front of the camera. All right, so it's automatically like pulling in, right? If you do it the other way around, where the logo's facing back, then the magnets are going to be fighting each other. All right, so just something to note. And on the bottom of that, there's really not a lot there. It's just the clamp points for the mount, and you can do that. Also, if we look back here, it's magnetic, so any kind of metal surface, the camera is going to stick to it. Now, I saw that on a video short, and it really surprised me. But I don't think that it's strong enough to do anything like, fast movement. If you're just kind of, moving around the area for a short period of time, it might be okay. But as you saw there, once it got on the body of the bike, it kind of slid down a little bit. But kind of cool that it's there. So if you just need a quick something to hold it, to mount it while you're doing something, you can do that. So if you look here on this side, you slide it up, you open it up, and you're going to have your battery and your memory card slot in there. On the reverse side of that, you've got your power button, and then you also have your Type-C port here on this side. Up top, you have your start, stop your camera, or take a picture, whatever function you have going on. When we power the unit on, right, you're going to see up front here, you're going to have a screen, which is also a touch screen that you can use. And when you're in, selfie mode, you can see yourself in the camera so that you know that you're in frame. As you can see that I've had the grid pattern turned on, and you can even see that in that front camera. So really nice there. On the back, you're going to have more options, and basically the same options that you have on the front, you're going to have on the back in order to do what it is that you need to do. There are microphones on the bodies of the camera. There's also a speaker on the body of the camera. And if you look here in the O on the Action, between those two microphones, there is a light sensor. So the automatic white balance setting uses that light sensor to judge how much white balance you need. And then as you transition from inside to outside, it automatically reads reads the atmosphere, the area that you're filming. And I found that it actually works. It works very well. That light sensor on there is pretty accurate. I mean, you might have to do some minor tweaks. So as small as this camera is, you also have a lot of settings that you would find on I guess like a DSLR type camera or a more traditional camera. And both of these will have those settings, but I mean, there's just a ton of settings in here that you can dial in your video how you want it to be shot. All right, so let's take a look at the Insta360 Ace Pro. Like I said, this has a slightly larger body than the Action 4. And looking at it, I mean, it's still a small, compact design. Up here, you're going to have a screen that's going to give you some information here on the display. On this side, you have the door for your battery. So you pop that open. So now the seal on this door is a lot firmer than what it is on the Action 4. And it does have a level of waterproofness. Both of them do, but the cushioning on this door is way stiffer than what you're going to find on the Action 4. And of course, inside, there's nothing but the battery on that side. One of the standout features of this is that you have this little screen that flips up. And I found that to be very useful. However, whenever I'm filming, I had to stop so I could flip this up so I can make sure that I'm in the frame. All right. On the side here, we've got the Type-C port as well as the memory card slot that goes in there. And just like on the Action 4, this also has a magnetic bottom to it. Let's see if it'll stick to the bike. Okay. All right, so it does stick to the bike a lot less though than the Action 4. That could either be the magnet or the weight. But again, I don't know if that's like an advertised feature, but just something to note. And as far as the mount goes, now there is an image on here that says where the camera should be facing when you put it on the mount. But if you put it the other way around, it's going to do the same thing as the DJI. It's going to do the same thing as the DJI, where it kind of fights with the magnet. So you just want to make sure that you have it in the right spot. Clicks on, no problem. All right. So let's turn it on. All right, and you get a couple of different lights there. All right. And like I said, this has a few pretty cool features. As you can see on the back here, it gives you a nice display. On the front, it gives you information about basically what video settings you have that you're going to be capturing. And then when you flip this up, right, it's going to flip around and show you what you're looking at through the camera on that side. And it also has face detection, which I know you guys can't see it, but when it recognizes a face, it puts a little box around it. All right. Now, if you look at the display there, you can see the battery life, like I was talking about with the earlier. The battery life on the Action 4 is going to be a bit better than what it is here on the Insta. Now it says, I think on the site, it says it's like 100 minutes. and then for the Ace Pro, and then it's 160 minutes for the Action 4. All right. Now there's some stipulations on the website as to what settings that they achieve those numbers with, and basically you don't have a display on there. And of course, this display is touchscreen, just like on the back of the Action 4. But like I said, when I was at the dealership and I turned it around to face me, you got to kind of pause and flip the screen up. But I mean, it just takes a second or two. I had two cameras in my hands, so if you have something else in your hand while you're trying to be, smooth while you're filming, that's going to take a little bit. But at any rate, very good camera. I was pleasantly surprised, just at basically how easy it was to use this camera as well as the Action 4. I like the screen where it flips up. It's a larger screen than what you get on the Action 4. And in some modes, right, if you're doing, I think it's like 4K 60, 4K 120, those types of things, you are not going to be able to use this front camera, right? So I think that it's just a limitation of the resolution of the small camera. So just something to keep in mind there. Whereas on the Insta360, the screen is going to be available whatever mode you're in. The accessories for each of these cameras is you're going to have a wide array of cameras available to you. But one of the best things that you're going to want for your camera is a good bar grip, bar mount. And I think Insta360 has one of the best bar mounts that you can get, because it locks itself in position once you have it set. Once you unscrew it, you can move it around, and it has teeth. So once you get it where you want it, and you get that down, that is not going anywhere. Like, there is no margin for movement whatsoever, okay? Whereas some of the other clamps that you can get, like this ball clamp, now, if you don't get it tight enough, then you're going to be able to move it just like this, all right? And then the ball that's in there, it's like a squeeze ball, essentially. Like, this thing is just squeezing up on it in order for it to clamp where you want it. And then you got to really wrench down on it just to make sure it's tight, because if you get it down and it's not tight enough, it's going to start moving around just like this. I don't think that this is a very good. I try not to use this mount whenever possible. All right, and then if I do use it, I don't have it hanging off the side of the bike. Whereas with this Insta360 mount, it don't matter where you put it. You know that that's not moving anywhere. You know it's not going anywhere. So even if you decide to get the DJI camera or another camera, this Insta360 mount is probably the best mount that you can get. At least the best mount that I know of. So this was just a quick review. Like I said, I didn't want to get too far in depth, especially if you're someone like me that's fairly new, or if you're trying to start out. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these settings with these cameras, you're probably not going to use. But right now, as of 10 September, as of yesterday, the price for the Action 4 was $269. That's on a sale. And the Ace Pro was $349, which is also a sale. Regularly, it's $299 and $449. All right. So, based on your budget, based on some of the features that you like. And as a side note, okay, the DJI does 4K as its highest resolution. On the Ace Pro, you can get up to 8K for your resolution. So if you are looking to do very, very high quality video, which, you could, right? But keep in mind, I think that most displays right now are at the 4K. I think 8K is coming up. And, if you want to produce video on an 8K scale, you know, maybe you're a professional. You know, you want a small camera to do some weird angles or something. You know, this is going to be able to do it for you. Otherwise, you know, the 4K, I think this camera is going to be do. This camera is more than capable to do what you need. Now, the one that I chose was the DJI camera, and I chose that one because the video quality very, very similar. I don't plan on running anything in 8K, and the price for this unit, I mean, that's to me just spoke for itself. I mean, for this little camera to do what it does at that price point, I think is a pretty good deal. All right, so there you have it. That was the quick review of the DJI Action 4 and the Insta360 Ace Pro, the 8K action camera versus the 4K action camera. What do you think? How do you think the videos looked? And which one would you go for? All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys hanging out to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel. Thank you so much. And just like that, ride every day. And most importantly, make sure you're enjoying it. Peace.